Hey, you. Mark's booked up and we need another character intro screen for Zero to Hero. We'll give you the same setup we gave Mark with some different art, action VFX clips, and a different piece of footage that we actually shot over cranked so you can play with speed ramping if you want to. Or not, your call. Get after it.
For the exercise, you're starting with a setup very similar to the one I had, but the brief is a bit different. In this case, you're working with telekinesis instead of pyromania. So that could imply even more imagination on your part of what these radioactive beings in this scene can do. There's also a really great opportunity that I'm a little jealous of with your green screen footage. Let's take a look. Well, how are you going to outdo me this week? We have a couple of really great extras for you that did not appear in my version. One of which came up because I noticed this hair. And as I was directing the shoot, the male talent came on first, and then she was warming up, and I thought, oh my gosh, look at that. So as you can see, we are looking at high-speed footage. Now, you're free to do what you want with this using time remapping, but what we have is an editorial timing. There it is. These are hold keyframes, and that's pretty standard for how an editor would handle this. It's not always a bad thing, and it may not be something you want to mess with. You might leave it. It works. She goes into slow-mo every time she's having these spectacular hair moments of dynamic action. But you might decide you want to go crazier with it, and you have that option. So 120 frames per second, and it's been imported as 23976 just to match. So knock yourself out with that or don't. We again have our mock-up there in the corner as reference, and I'll just talk you through some of the other elements. So the city includes a 3D element, which she's going to throw against the building. And this is poor man's 3D. I love this. So as you can see, it's just not that one. Yeah. So, 3D modeling in After Effects, there it is. And what that's going to let you do is have this thing twirl as it flies through the air. Here is the title. And one thing I didn't do in mine was just expose all this great, amazing Ariel Costa artwork. So he left the option to actually show what's underneath. And I think there's more goodness like that in the matte painting as well. So if you like a look like that, I decided not to do this in mine. Mine had the same thing, but now I'm kind of wondering why not, because it's pretty cool. We also have her as one of the actions in here. In addition to her power up, which you should make your own, she bends light poles with her mind. So there are ways we've already looked at to deform, but I thought I would show you one we haven't used because it kind of feels like the tool you might reach for first here, and that, if you haven't used it, is the Puppet tool. So Puppet, we could do a whole lesson, I suppose, on Puppet and all its intricacies, but it's in some ways really simple, and you can implement it as simply as just using the default there at the top, and just all you need are 3 points. I'll do one at the bottom, one in the middle, one here at the top, and when I do the one at the top, the whole thing bends, and I'm still free to animate the one in the middle, and these are keyframeable. You also get to adjust them. So if you don't like how stiff that one is, you have control over that in the timeline. So increasing the mesh density is one way you're going to get a little more subtlety happening in there. And here is where your deformation positions are set. And you can also change the pin type. So you can change that up here at the top, or you can change it right here in the layers. So there are a number of pin types. You might think that bend would be a natural one to choose here. Bend just works a little differently. So it lets you kind of twirl, and you're going to get a different result from that. You probably don't want starch because that's actually meant to hold a particular area rigid. But if you use advanced pins, you may find just an alternative way. I don't know that this is necessarily what we want, but you get to both position and rotate with this. That may very well be what you want to do. Finally, of course, we have the action VFX elements. And as you look through these, you're going to see they're named either fill or matte. These mattes were provided by Action VFX. We took a look at the various ways you can remove black from behind, say, an explosion instead of using the matte, but that does give you another option, and I'm going to just leave you to look through those. Before you get to work with these elements, there's one significant additional thing we need you to know. Action VFX makes their living creating the elements they were kind enough to license us for this course. We couldn't have done it without them, and there are specific conditions you really must honor in order that we're able to share them. They're only to be used for this exercise. We absolutely want you to show off your work, and when you do, credit Action VFX with a shout out if you're feeling it. That helps their business. Please, however, do not use these elements for any other course, or share them, or make any other use of them, as tempting as that might be. That jeopardizes their business and compromises our relationship with them. I hope you understand. This piece has some specific technical characteristics to it that are not identical to what you saw me do. And they may or may not suit your skill set or what you like to work with. Specifically, I'm talking about the sort of faked up 3D object that's in here and the time remapping. I think you can handle it. I think it'll be fun. And I think that this particular spot has a lot of potential to both get your personal stamp on it and to actually be fun to work with. But depending on where you're at, just scale what you do to at least what you would most like help and feedback on. And keep in mind that pretty much anything goes on this one.
So that's going to do it. Remember that the Red Giant Unmult plugin that you saw me using is free and downloadable.
I mean, I've got a browser open, right? So here is the site with Unmult. You could search on where can I get Unmult or where can I get Red Giant Unmult if you don't feel like typing in this whole long string. It's included in Red Giant Universe, but there are also these free versions that you can choose. 1.1 for Mac and Windows is what you would be aiming to simply download and install. And the instructions to install them are right here.
Or you can use the other workaround that I showed you in the lesson to just take away the black behind elements. Or of course, for many of these elements, if not all of them, we are going to be supplying the mattes that come with them. As I record this, we haven't fully finalized which elements we're handing off to you, but I'm excited for what you guys are going to be able to do with the telekinetic powers. So bring it.
Ah.